Okay, guys, so boundary games. What's the value of a boundary? It gives your dog a place. Can you go to your bed, sister? Good girl. It gives your dog a place to where they are required to or expected to disengage from the world around them. Once your dog has this concept down and is pretty advanced in their understanding, it means your job is to disengage from everything that's happening around you and just hang out and chill. So it really builds the skill of disengagement, focus, self-control, and if you train it right, it's a little bit excited for him right now, but it's really, the goal is that it's a calm, settled space. And I like using raised beds in parts of my house, and other parts I just use regular dog beds. It can be any kind of, let's stay on the bed. It can be any kind of distinct space that's, that just is distinct from the surroundings, and that's the easiest way to teach it. So I do like this for training because it just makes it physically very separate from, or very distinct from the surrounding. You can be down. You can be down, thank you. The way to start this, or build this, is you'll just start by seeing if your dog is comfortable being around the bed, and then you'll just start feeding the bed. And as we build skills, you'll vary you'll build up by playing with distance, your distance from the bed, the duration you're asking them to remain on the bed, and distractions. That might be like you jumping around or making a noise or running across the room. You won't play with all of those at once. You'll vary to build this skill, playing with those 3 different things. But right now, you're just starting, so lots of value on the bed, and the value is food. And then and you'll start to test that value and where the value is, maybe in your first session, and do a 3 or 4 minute session max, by luring your dog off the bed and then seeing if they choose to go back, which generally they will if you put a ton of value there. Now you're pretty excited. He's got a release word, so I'll use that and a lure. Break. See if he returns. Good boy. And then we get more value, more value, more value. This can also be super handy for doing sort of, we'll talk about this more, arousal up, arousal down game. So if we want to work on just skilling your dog up on shifting, between low, medium to high arousal, just playing with arousal levels and nice gradual transitions. You can go from really slow feeding on the bed, and there's certain games to play with that, to luring them off the bed and maybe having them follow food around, like a fast lure in a circle or spin or around your leg, or just doing some quick orientation game, and maybe doing some slower orientation game, and then bringing them back to the bed and slowing things down again. But remembering we don't want to just do 0 and 100. We want to do all the levels in between. So we'll talk about that more. But the initial stages, before you add a cue, is getting your dog comfortable and putting a ton of value here. At the point when you add a cue, again, add a cue when your dog is doing a behavior reliably. So when you can point or lure them and they know what they're to do, and they're going to that space reliably, that's when to add the cue, which for me it's to your bed. And then at that point you'd add the cue, pause, and then you gesture. Give your dog a chance to follow just the verbal cue. Good girl. We'll ask him the question again, where is the value? So we'll ask him to come off. And they say, and I understand this is true, the key to really strong boundaries are a really good release, because you're making a distinction between you're free you're off, you're nothing is being asked of you, you're not on that space anymore, and you're being asked to do something. So a really good release cue and a clear release, super key. Break. Yay! Super kid. Make sure he's on there all the way before we start feeding. You're doing good, sister. And that is lots of info, tons and tons of info. So please, as you go through and learn more and have more questions, watch this video again. But really, the preliminary stuff is lots of value on clearly releasing off, and then lots of value on